Let's be real. Waiting until you feel motivated is the fastest way to get nowhere. If you sit around hoping for the perfect moment, you'll be sitting forever. Success isn't about how you feel, it's about what you do. Every day you have a choice. Let excuses run your life or take control and push yourself forward no matter what. The truth? You're never going to feel like it. You're never going to wake up magically ready to chase your goals. That's why you have to force yourself. Yes, force yourself to take action even when you don't want to. Because discipline, not motivation, is what separates people who succeed from people who just wish they did. So today we're going to talk about how you can stop waiting, stop overthinking, and start moving because your goals aren't going to achieve themselves. Let's go. Motivation is one of the biggest myths holding people back from achieving their goals. Too many people believe that in order to take action, they need to feel ready, inspired, or excited. They wait for a surge of energy, a perfect moment, or some external push to get started. But the hard truth is that motivation is unreliable. It's inconsistent, fleeting, and often disappears exactly when you need it most. If you rely on motivation to drive you, you'll find yourself stuck, making excuses, and watching time slip away. Think about the moments when you felt motivated. Maybe you watched an inspiring video, listened to a powerful speech, or had a burst of enthusiasm about a new goal. In that moment, everything seems possible. You make plans, set goals, and imagine a better future. But then what happens? A few hours or days later, that energy fades, life gets in the way, doubts creep in. Suddenly, all those things you were so excited about don't seem as urgent or important. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, next week, or when you feel ready again. And just like that, the cycle of inaction begins. The reason motivation fails is simple. It's based on emotions, and emotions are unpredictable. One day, you might wake up feeling excited to tackle your goals. The next, you're tired, stressed, or distracted. If your success depends on how you feel in the moment, you'll never be consistent enough to achieve anything meaningful. High achievers don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline, habits, and a commitment to action, no matter how they feel. Your brain is wired to keep you comfortable. It's designed to avoid effort, risk, and anything that feels difficult or unfamiliar. That's why when you think about doing something challenging, whether it's waking up early, going to the gym, starting a business, or studying for an exam, your mind immediately comes up with reasons to delay. I'll do it later. I'm too tired. I'll be more productive tomorrow. These thoughts feel logical, but they're just your brain's way of keeping you in your comfort zone. And if you listen to them, you'll stay stuck. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for perfect weather to go outside. Some days will be sunny, but most days won't be ideal. If you only take action when conditions are perfect, you'll miss out on progress. The people who succeed are the ones who step out, rain or shine, and get to work anyway. They don't let their feelings decide their actions. They understand that motivation might get them started, but discipline is what keeps them going. The good news is that once you stop depending on motivation, you take back control. Instead of waiting to feel like doing something, you train yourself to take action regardless of how you feel. It's not easy at first, but the more you do it, the stronger you become. Every time you push yourself to act despite feeling unmotivated, you build discipline. You prove to yourself that you are in charge, not your emotions, not your excuses, not your fleeting feelings. Think about the most successful people in any field, athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, or leaders. Do you think they wake up every day feeling energized and ready to conquer the world? No. They wake up tired, stressed, or unmotivated just like everyone else. The difference is they don't let those feelings stop them. They show up. They do the work. They push through discomfort because they know that consistency is the key to success. If you've been waiting for motivation to start working toward your goals, stop. It's time to shift your mindset. Instead of saying, I'll do it when I feel motivated, tell yourself, I'll do it no matter what. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes. Over time, you'll realize that motivation isn't something you wait for. It's something you create through action. And once you stop relying on it, nothing will be able to hold you back. Taking action, even when you don't feel like it, is the key to building momentum. Most people think they need motivation to get started, but the truth is that motivation often comes after you take action, not before. When you wait until you feel inspired, you'll waste time, overthink, and hesitate. But the moment you force yourself to do something, even a small step, you break through resistance and start creating progress. That progress builds momentum. And once momentum is on your side, everything becomes easier. Think of a heavy train sitting on the tracks. If it's at a complete stop, getting it to move even an inch takes an enormous amount of effort. But once it starts rolling, even slightly, it becomes much easier to keep it going. The same principle applies to action. The hardest part is starting. But once you push through the initial resistance, you build energy, and before you know it, you're making real progress. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to achieve their goals is because they overthink everything. They analyze, plan, and wait for the perfect time, but in the process, they delay taking action. This creates a cycle of stagnation where nothing actually happens. The best way to break this cycle is to stop thinking so much and just start. Even if you don't feel ready, even if you don't have all the answers, even if you're unsure of what the outcome will be, just take the first step. Action leads to clarity, and as you move forward, things start to make more sense. Consider a time when you dreaded doing something. Maybe it was working out, writing a report, or tackling a big project. You probably spent a lot of time procrastinating, convincing yourself it would be difficult or exhausting. But the moment you finally started, something changed. Once you were in motion, the task wasn't as bad as you imagined. In fact, you might have even gained energy and motivation as you went along. This is the power of momentum. The reason action creates momentum is because it shifts your mindset. When you're stuck in inaction, your mind fills with doubt and excuses. But the moment you take a step forward, your focus changes. Instead of thinking about how hard something will be, you start thinking about how to keep going. Your brain switches from hesitation to problem solving, from avoidance to engagement. This shift makes all the difference. Another important factor in building momentum is consistency. Small, repeated actions lead to big results over time. Many people believe they need to make massive, dramatic changes overnight, but that's not sustainable. Real progress happens when you take small, consistent actions every single day. A person who exercises for just 15 minutes a day will see more long-term results than someone who works out intensely once a month. The key is to keep moving, even in small ways. This is why successful people prioritize daily habits over occasional bursts of effort. They understand that the simple act of showing up, doing the work, and staying in motion is more important than feeling inspired. They don't wait for motivation to strike. They create their own momentum by consistently taking action. If you struggle with getting started, one trick is to lower the barrier to entry. Instead of focusing on the entire task, focus on just the first step. Or tell yourself you'll work on something for just 5 minutes. Often, once you begin, you'll naturally want to keep going. The hardest part is simply starting. And once you overcome that initial resistance, you'll find yourself in a flow state where things become easier. Momentum is powerful because it creates a feedback loop. The more you take action, the more confidence you build. The more confident you feel, the easier it becomes to keep going. Before you know it, what once seemed overwhelming or impossible becomes a normal part of your routine. The bottom line is this: action is the cure for hesitation, doubt, and procrastination. No matter how small, taking a step forward shifts your energy and puts you on the path to success. So stop waiting, stop overthinking, and start moving. Once you build momentum, nothing will be able to stop you. Most people believe that success comes from motivation, but in reality, it comes from discipline. Motivation is temporary. It's an emotional state that changes from day to day. Some days you wake up feeling excited and ready to tackle your goals. Other days you feel tired, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. If you rely on motivation alone, you'll only take action when you feel good, which means you'll be inconsistent. And inconsistency is the enemy of progress. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you moving forward no matter how you feel. It's the ability to stick to your commitments even when you don't want to, and that's what separates successful people from everyone else. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It's waking up early to work on your goals when you'd rather sleep in. It's going to the gym when you don't feel like exercising. It's sticking to your schedule when distractions try to pull you away. The reason discipline is so powerful is that it removes feelings from the equation. Instead of constantly debating with yourself about whether you're in the mood to do something, you just do it because it's part of your routine. This eliminates the energy wasted on indecision and excuses. The problem is that most people wait to feel like doing something before they do it. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more energy, or I'll work on it when I feel inspired. But waiting for the right mood is a trap because that perfect moment rarely comes. The truth is, feelings are unpredictable. You can't control them, but you can control your actions. Discipline is the skill of taking action regardless of how you feel. One of the biggest benefits of discipline is that it builds trust in yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you prove to yourself that you can be relied on. This builds confidence, and confidence leads to even greater discipline. On the other hand, every time you break a promise to yourself, whether it's skipping a workout, procrastinating on a project, or quitting something halfway, you send yourself the message that your word doesn't matter. Over time, this erodes self-trust and makes it even harder to stay committed. That's why discipline isn't just about achieving external success. It's also about strengthening your mindset and self-respect. Discipline also creates freedom. At first, it might seem like discipline is restrictive, like it takes away your choices, but in reality, it gives you more control over your life. When you're disciplined with your time, you have more freedom to enjoy life because you're not constantly stressed about unfinished tasks. When you're disciplined with your health, you have more energy to do the things you love. When you're disciplined with your finances, you have more freedom to make choices without worrying about money. The more disciplined you are, the more control you have over your future. Another important aspect of discipline is that it gets easier over time. At first, forcing yourself to do things you don't feel like doing can be uncomfortable. But the more you practice discipline, the more automatic it becomes. What once felt difficult eventually becomes a habit. The key is to start small. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Just commit to one disciplined action each day, whether it's waking up at a set time, completing a small task, or sticking to a schedule. Over time, these small acts of discipline compound into massive results. If you've ever admired someone who is successful in their field, whether it's an athlete, entrepreneur, artist, or leader, you can be sure of one thing. They didn't get there by relying on motivation alone. They got there by showing up every day, putting in the work, and pushing through resistance even when they didn't feel like it. That's what discipline looks like. It's not about being perfect or never struggling. It's about being consistent and committed no matter what. Success is a result of discipline, not feelings. If you want to achieve something big, stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for motivation to magically appear. Decide that you will take action, no matter how you feel. Once you make that shift, nothing can stand in your way. The idea of forcing yourself to take action might sound uncomfortable, but it's one of the most powerful ways to break through resistance and achieve your goals. Most people wait until they want to do something before they actually do it. They wait for inspiration to strike, for the perfect mood, or for the right circumstances. But that's exactly why they stay stuck. If you only take action when you feel like it, you'll rarely take action at all. The truth is, you have to force yourself, push past your own excuses, override your hesitation, and take action even when every part of you wants to procrastinate. Your brain is wired to keep you comfortable. It naturally resists anything that feels difficult, unfamiliar, or uncertain. That's why when you think about doing something challenging, whether it's starting a workout, making a difficult phone call, or working on an important project, your mind immediately tries to talk you out of it. You'll suddenly think of 100 reasons why now isn't the right time. I'm too tired. I'll be more productive later. I don't know where to start. These thoughts feel rational, but they're actually just excuses designed to keep you in your comfort zone. The way to break free from this mental resistance is to force yourself to take the first step. The moment you feel hesitation creeping in, don't think, just move. Count down from 5 and start immediately. Open your laptop, put on your workout clothes, make that call. It doesn't matter if you don't feel ready. Once you initiate action, something incredible happens. Your brain shifts from resistance to engagement. What once felt difficult suddenly feels manageable. The hardest part is always getting started, but once you push through that initial friction, you'll find yourself in motion and it will be much easier to keep going. Forcing yourself to act is a skill that gets stronger the more you use it. The first few times it might feel unnatural or even painful. You'll want to retreat into old habits of procrastination and avoidance. But the more you practice overriding your own excuses, the easier it becomes. Over time, this turns into a habit, one where you no longer negotiate with yourself about whether or not to do something. You just do it. This is the mindset that separates high achievers from everyone else. They don't wait to feel like doing something, they train themselves to take action regardless of how they feel. Another reason forcing yourself to take action is so powerful is that it builds self-trust. When you constantly give in to excuses, you reinforce the belief that you are someone who avoids challenges. But when you push yourself forward, even when it's uncomfortable, you prove to yourself that you are in control, not your emotions, not your doubts, and not your fears. This builds confidence and creates a powerful cycle. The more you force yourself to act, the more capable you feel. And the more capable you feel, the more action you take. One of the most important things to understand is that you don't need to feel ready to begin. Most people think that confidence comes first, that they need to feel prepared, skilled, or motivated before they start something. But that's backward. Confidence comes from taking action, not before it. The more you push yourself to act despite uncertainty, the more you develop the belief that you can handle anything. This is how you become unstoppable, by training yourself to take action no matter what. Think about any moment in your life when you were forced to take action. Maybe you had a deadline and no choice but to complete a project. Maybe you had to step up in an emergency. Maybe you were pushed into a situation that was outside your comfort zone. In those moments, you didn't wait to feel ready. You acted because you had to. And afterward, you realized you were capable of more than you thought. The key is to apply that same urgency to your daily life, even when there isn't external pressure forcing you. Success is about action. It's not about how much you plan, how motivated you feel, or how many ideas you have. It's about what you actually do. If you can train yourself to stop waiting, stop hesitating, and start moving, you will accomplish more than you ever thought possible. It all starts with a simple decision. When you feel yourself holding back, push forward anyway. Force yourself to take that first step, and the rest will follow. Overthinking is one of the biggest obstacles to success. The more you analyze, question, and hesitate, the harder it becomes to take action. People often believe that thinking more will help them make better decisions, but in reality, overthinking leads to self-doubt, procrastination, and missed opportunities. The longer you stay stuck in your head, the more you convince yourself that now isn't the right time, that you need more information, or that you're not ready. But the truth is, no amount of thinking can replace action. The only way to make progress is to stop overanalyzing and start moving forward. One of the biggest problems with overthinking is that it creates unnecessary fear. When you spend too much time analyzing a decision, your mind starts to focus on all the possible things that could go wrong. You start imagining failure, embarrassment, or disappointment. You convince yourself that you don't have enough experience, that others will judge you, or that you might make a mistake. This type of thinking doesn't protect you. It paralyzes you. Instead of preparing you for action, it keeps you stuck in a cycle of hesitation. Taking action, even when you're uncertain, is the only way to break free from this cycle. The truth is, most decisions are not as risky or complicated as they seem. You don't need to have everything figured out before you start. You just need to take the first step. When you act, you gain real experience, and that experience teaches you more than endless thinking ever could. You learn what works, what doesn't, and what adjustments you need to make. Progress comes from doing, not from waiting for the perfect plan. Many people overthink because they fear making mistakes. They believe that if they plan enough, they can avoid failure altogether. But this is an illusion. No matter how much you plan, there will always be challenges, setbacks, and unexpected problems. The difference between successful people and those who stay stuck is that successful people don't let the fear of mistakes stop them. They understand that failure is just part of the learning process. Every mistake is a lesson that brings you closer to success. Overthinking also wastes time and energy. You can spend hours, days, or even weeks analyzing a decision, but all that time spent thinking doesn't actually move you forward. Meanwhile, someone else who simply took action is already ahead, learning and improving through experience. The longer you delay, the harder it becomes to start. Every day you spend overthinking is a day lost when you could have been making real progress. The key to overcoming overthinking is to develop a bias toward action. This means making a conscious decision to move forward even when you don't have all the answers. Instead of getting stuck in your head, focus on taking small steps. If you're unsure about something, take a small action to test it out. If you're debating whether to start a new project, just begin with one simple task. If you're worried about making the wrong choice, remind yourself that action leads to clarity. The more you do, the more you learn, and the more confident you become. Another way to stop overthinking is to set time limits for decision-making. Instead of endlessly analyzing, give yourself a deadline. Decide that you will make a choice within a specific amount of time and then act on it. This prevents you from falling into the trap of endless hesitation. The more you practice quick decision-making, the more natural it becomes. Successful people don't let overthinking control them. They take action, learn from experience, and keep moving forward. They don't wait for perfect conditions or endless certainty. They start where they are and figure things out along the way. This is the mindset that leads to progress, growth, and success. If you've been stuck in a cycle of overthinking, it's time to break free. Stop waiting, stop analyzing, and start moving. The faster you take action, the sooner you'll see results. And once you realize that action is the key to progress, you'll never let overthinking hold you back again. Success isn't just about setting goals. It's about holding yourself accountable for achieving them. Many people start with excitement, setting big dreams and making plans, but as time passes, they lose focus. They allow distractions, excuses, and doubts to take over. Without accountability, it's easy to delay progress, ignore commitments, and eventually give up altogether. The key to long-term success is developing a system that forces you to stay on track, even when motivation fades. Accountability means taking full responsibility for your actions, decisions, and results. It means refusing to blame circumstances, other people, or external factors for your progress or lack of it. When you take complete ownership of your goals, you eliminate excuses. You stop waiting for perfect conditions, stop blaming bad luck, and stop depending on others to push you forward. Instead, you recognize that the only person responsible for your success is you. One of the biggest challenges with accountability is that it's easy to let yourself off the hook. When no one is watching, it's tempting to skip a workout, postpone a project, or break a promise to yourself. The human brain is skilled at making justifications. I'll do it tomorrow. I don't have time today. I'll start when I feel ready. These excuses might feel harmless in the moment, but over time, they build a habit of inconsistency. And inconsistency is what kills progress. The most effective way to build accountability is to create external pressure. While self-discipline is important, having someone or something that holds you responsible increases the likelihood of following through. This could be a mentor, a coach, a friend, or even a public commitment. When you tell others about your goals, you create a sense of obligation. You don't want to let them down. And more importantly, you don't want to embarrass yourself by failing to follow through. Tracking progress is another essential aspect of accountability. If you don't measure your results, it's easy to convince yourself that you're doing enough when you're not. Keeping a record of your actions, whether it's writing down completed tasks, tracking workouts, or reviewing your goals regularly, keeps you honest. It forces you to face the reality of your progress. Are you actually putting in the effort, or are you just thinking about it? Seeing real data about your consistency helps you stay motivated and make necessary adjustments. Another powerful way to hold yourself accountable is to create consequences and rewards. If there are no stakes, it's easy to ignore your commitments. But when there's a real cost to not following through, you're far more likely to stay consistent. For example, you could set a rule that if you skip a planned action, you have to donate money to a cause you don't support. On the other hand, rewarding yourself for hitting milestones reinforces positive behavior. Knowing that you'll get a reward for staying on track makes the process more enjoyable and sustainable. One of the most overlooked aspects of accountability is honesty with yourself. It's easy to make excuses and justify inaction, but deep down, you know when you're not giving your best effort. Being brutally honest with yourself about your habits, discipline, and follow through is essential for growth. It's not about being overly critical. It's about recognizing where you can improve and taking action to fix it. The truth is, nobody's going to do the work for you. No one is coming to push you, motivate you, or make sure you stay on track. If you don't hold yourself accountable, no one else will. That's why the most successful people create systems that keep them disciplined, focused, and committed to their goals. They don't rely on motivation because they know it's temporary. Instead, they build accountability into their daily lives, ensuring that no matter what, they stay on course. Success isn't about luck, talent, or even intelligence. It's about showing up, doing the work, and holding yourself accountable. If you can master this, there's nothing you can't achieve. At the end of the day, achieving your goals isn't about waiting for the perfect moment, feeling motivated, or having everything figured out. It's about making a decision to push yourself forward every single day, no matter what. You have to force yourself to take action when you don't feel like it, stay disciplined when distractions arise, and move past overthinking when fear tries to hold you back. Success doesn't come from luck or talent. It comes from consistency, resilience, and accountability. The truth is, no one is going to hand you the life you want. You have to go out and create it. So stop waiting, stop hesitating, and start moving. The moment you take control of your actions, your mindset, and your habits is the moment you take control of your future. It's time to stop thinking and start doing, because everything you want is on the other side of action.